Hi everyone, welcome to CompuScholar's Professional Development webinar for September of 2023. Today we're going to talk about managing your CompuScholar licenses, and we think this will be a topic that's of particular interest to teachers as you get started with the new school year. The folks that will want to watch this webinar include our public and private school teachers that are managing classrooms and have purchased licenses through their school or district. But this is not intended for homeschool or individual families. If you're a homeschool or individual family, you can stop watching now because you have an entirely different subscription mechanism and nothing that you see in the rest of this video will apply to you. For our public and private school teachers, there are essentially three different types of licenses you might purchase from CompuScholar. The first is a school platform that will cover a specific number of students. So you might have 10, 20, or 30 students in your school, and you'll purchase a platform license that covers that specific number of students. And we do want to highlight that the school platform license is shared by all teachers at the school. So if multiple teachers want to teach CompuScholar courses, make sure you get together and total up the sum of all the students that you will need to cover, and make sure that your school platform license will cover all of those students. The second type of license is an unlimited campus license. As you might guess, will cover all of the students in your school in any available course, and so the way that you manage students within your sections becomes a little bit easier. The third type of license is a district block, and this is purchased at a district level to cover multiple schools. The block license will again specify a certain number of students, perhaps 300 or 400 students, and then we'll distribute those licenses across the schools as needed. So the key takeaway for the district block license is that that pool of students is shared by all the teachers in the district. If you're curious what type of license you have, you can always see that on your teacher dashboard under the My Licenses block. I've showed you an illustration here of the three different types of licenses, and let's switch over and take a look at a live version. Okay, I'm looking at my CompuScholar teacher dashboard, and you can see the My Licenses block here in the lower left. Now, normally you will only see one type of license. Your school doesn't typically purchase multiple overlapping licenses for you. So I just have three here on the dashboard as a demonstration. You'll note if there is a license in red, you can hover over it for more info. And the red license simply means that we have not yet received payment for the license. Your students will not see this unpaid status, and the unpaid status doesn't impact your ability to do anything that you need to do as a teacher. So this is a fully functional license. We just color it in red so that you know we still need to track down a check or payment for that license. So let's focus on the nitty-gritty of managing students within each of your class sections. And this is particularly important for teachers that are using what we call our standard deployment model, which means teachers are creating their own sections within our system with the Add Course button. You'll get a registration code for each section, and then students create their own accounts with that registration code. So if you're using that standard deployment model, you'll definitely want to sit up and take notes as we complete the rest of the webinar. If you're using one of our integrated deployment models, meaning auto-rostering or single sign-on through Clever or ClassLink, or if you have integrated your course material into a district learning management system like Canvas or Schoology, then you won't need to manage your student licenses or students per section within the CompuScholar system at all. So you can kick back and relax, and the rest of this video largely does not apply to you. So again, we're focused from here forward on those standard deployment models. Let's address the unlimited campus license first, as these are pretty easy. With an unlimited campus license, as you might expect, you can create as many sections as you need, and you don't have to worry about your student counts at all. There is one minor caveat to that, in that we cap by default the number of students per CompuScholar section at 40. So even though you have an unlimited campus license, it is best practice in our system to create one section per each of your physical class periods. So if you're teaching 3 sections of web design, for example, then you would have 3 different courses within the system of web design, and typically you're going to have 10, 20, 30 or so students per physical class period, but very rarely more than 40. So if you do have a good reason to go beyond 40 students in a single section, please contact us and we can definitely raise that cap for you. And let's go take a quick peek at our system. Okay, back here on my teacher dashboard, you can see we're just focusing on the unlimited campus license for now. We can click on Add Course. you'll want to select the CompuScholar title here and enter the name of the course. And you'll notice we have that note about the default limit of 40 seats. So when you're using an unlimited campus license, you can see those details up here. We won't ask you for a specific number of students. We'll just automatically put a cap of 40 in that classroom so you can enroll up to 40 students per section. So let's turn our attention to these school platform licenses, which are a little bit more interesting in terms of carefully managing your student counts within each section. Remember, the licenses are per school, so if you have multiple teachers at the school that are sharing a pool of licenses, let's learn how that works together so that you're not stepping on each other as teachers. In this particular illustration, we've started a school, an imaginary school with 25 licenses, and let's say Mr. Blue creates a section with 10 students. So after that section is created, the general license pool will have 15 remaining. Mr. Blue might create another section and allocate another 5 students to that, and then you'll have 10 students remaining on that school license. And then another teacher, Mrs. Green, comes along and creates a final section with 10 students, and that leaves you with 0 for your campus license. So that's how teachers will work together to bring out just the number of students they need in each one of their sections, and be sure to leave unneeded licenses back in the general pool for other teachers to use. Let me quickly show you how to allocate a specific number of student licenses or seats to a class when you create it. You can see we're starting with 25 remaining students on our school platform license. I'll click Add Course. You can see at the top details of your current school license, including the remaining number of seats at that school. You can select a CompuScholar course, and here's where you pick the number of seats you want to pull from that course. And by default, the system is a little bit greedy, and so it'll take as many licenses as you have left up to that 40 student cap per section. So if you don't actually want to use all those seats in the course, put down a lesser number like 10, give the course a name, and create the course. Once you're done, back on the dashboard, you can see the new course, and if you take a look at your license, you'll see all 10 students have been taken out, and you now have 15 seats remaining on that license. Now, we haven't actually enrolled 10 students yet, we've merely reserved those 10 seats. Let's take a closer look at the students that might actually register within the course. So remember, we had 10 students allocated to the first section, 5 to the second, and 10 to the third. So these are really seats that you're allocating to a section, and you may or may not actually fill those seats with students. So in the first example, you can see Mr. Blue enrolled 8 students, and he has 2 empty seats left out of that 10 license that he allocated. In the second and third sections, we've just assumed that those licenses are fully used, and you have 5 students actually enrolled in the second section and 10 students actually enrolled in the third section. So naturally, the situation might arise where you've got a couple of empty seats in a section, and you want to return those empty seats back to the school license so they can be used somewhere else. Perhaps Mr. Blue needs to have those 2 seats over here in the second section because he's got 2 more students he wants to enroll. So in that case, you can go into the Manage My Logins area of the course and actually remove those empty seats, which will increase the school license count back to 2, and then you can go into the second course and draw those 2 licenses down, and then you'll have 2 empty seats that can be used for your students. So to do this sort of activity, you'll want to go into each course and look at the teacher's menu on the left, and then click Manage My Logins, and let's show you how that works. Okay, we're looking at a teacher dashboard, and we've enabled this school platform license with 25 students. We've already created 1 demo section and put 10 students into it, so you can see the license says it has 15 students remaining. Let's go into the section. We'll click on the Manage My Logins here on the left. And let's scroll down a little bit and take a look at this Manage License area. So the first line is a summary of what is remaining on your school license. Remember, your school licenses has 15 seats left over that are not assigned to any course. Here's the student code that your students would use to register, and here's a count of how many students you've actually enrolled in the course. At the moment, we haven't enrolled any students. We just have 10 empty seats. So let's say we realize we don't need all these seats in the course and we want to remove some back to the general pool. So I'll click minus, minus, minus. You can see the number of empty seats in the course goes down, and the number of empty seats back on your general license goes back up. So when you're comfortable with the changes, just click Save Changes. And then if we go back to the dashboard, you can see those 3 students have been added back to your general pool, and they can now be allocated to any other course. If you need to pull more licenses from the general pool into a course, you do the same thing. Go to Manage My Logins, and just hit the plus button instead. And you can see the number of seats in your general pool goes down, and the number of seats in your course goes up. So you might need to do this, for example, if your empty seats reaches 0. When your number of empty seats in the course reaches 0, that means the student code can no longer be used to register new students. You'd have to pull in some new students from your general pool, or if your general pool is completely depleted, you can purchase additional seats right here online. Now there's one last thing I'd like to point out, and that is if you delete a course or remove a student completely from a classroom, that will automatically return those licenses back to the general pool. So continuing our prior example where we had fully used all of our student licenses across 3 sections, if we deleted this first course where we allocated 10 seats, that would return those 10 licenses to your pool, and those 10 licenses could then be used somewhere else. And you'll do this by clicking on that Remove Course button right here in your dashboard. And let's see how that works. Back on our example teacher dashboard, you can see our school platform license of 25 students has 15 remaining. That means the other 10 seats are currently in this demo section. So if we want to recover those 10 seats entirely, click Remove Course. Select the course that we want to remove. So let's remove that demo section, and then click Permanently Remove this course. And permanently means exactly what it says. So if you remove a course, all the student data is gone, and you will not be able to recover that information. Once you're done, come back to the dashboard, and you can see you now have 25 students remaining on your license, and those can be allocated to any other course. So that's a pretty detailed walkthrough of how you will manage individual student licenses if your school has purchased a specific number and you want to move those licenses between courses. Now recall there was a third type of license called a district block license, and these work just like the school platform, except those student counts are shared across the entire district. So teachers from different schools will all be pulling from that shared pool, and you want to coordinate usage among the schools to make sure that no one school or teacher is taking more than expected, and make sure that you leave enough licenses for everybody else. I hope this has been a useful tour of the licensing mechanisms for the CompuScholar courses. We appreciate your time. As always, you're welcome to contact us with questions by phone or through our website. Thanks for watching.